update to Poland, Lithuania and Commonwealth is coming at last. Of course, it did have update in 1.27, but that was a free update. Right now we're gonna have tons of the new missions, winged hussars and other great stuff coming. That's OP, that's very OP, that's very OP. To stay up to date with the EU4 dev diaries as well as all the other content, remember to subscribe to the channel right now. So first we're gonna start with Poland and their starting mission tree. It's gonna be a little bit different than so far, and it's gonna be around its situation at the very start of the game. So not having any ruler, use of Mazovia, Teutonic Order and their own nobility. Just look how the missions Poland is having. Some of them are branching, that's a classic already on this patch. So let's start with the government, because at the very start you have two tier 1 option governments that you will get depending on your choice in the first event. So if you want a Jagiellon on your throne and union with Lithuania, or you want to go with the local noble without union over Lithuania. Great same is what you're starting with before the union with Lithuania. It enables you the parliament, so that might be a really cool change. I just hope this parliament will work a little bit different than the English one, because it was different than the English one. And on top of that, of course, negative absoluties, some national unrest modifier, and Schlacht loyalty and influence. If we get union with Lithuania, we're gonna become obviously Polish elective monarchy. New monarch is elected from available princes, so I'm not sure how it's gonna work. It might be something close to what we have in the Mamluks. So once your ruler dies, you choose from one of the available new rulers. And I assume that's gonna be very similar here, depending what nations supported their nobles to our throne. Then of course there's gonna be a parliament, same is a major part of the Polish elective monarchy. What's important, now when a Lithuania is a play, you can still get union with Lithuania. But Lithuania will be able to choose if they want it or not. So it's more for like you want to play with your friend as a co-op, Polish, Lithuanian, Commonwealth. And this way is gonna be a great opportunity for the co-op, because from what I understand, part of the mission tree is also around actually co-oping as these two nations instead of just conquering Lithuania. So yes, as mentioned, there's a dynamic mission tree where you're gonna get different mission trees when you decide to go on PU Lithuania, and different ones if you decide to not get the PU. If you PU Lithuania, this will lead to bonuses on developing the Lithuanian on your own lands, increasing their economy, and in the long term, of course, integrating them into PLC. Negotiations of Lublin is pretty much Unia Lubelska, which in history was one of the pacts crucial for the union between Poland and Lithuania. And you can see we have a choice between forcing Lithuanians to sign the agreement, we're gonna take the Southern Ruthenia from them, or both nations are gonna get death cost and stability modifier for a certain amount of the time. So this might be a great choice for the co-op gameplay. Ah yes, and if you enforce, you can also phone Commonwealth at Tech 8. So if you really want to rush Commonwealth, and there are reasons to do that, it might be really cool. So what happens when you do not want union with Lithuania? You can go into Holy Roman Empire instead. So you can get the same diet of 1466 that actually allow you to be part of the Holy Roman Empire. And I think that might be final reason that we push some players into going into choosing the local noble instead of PU over Lithuania. That's a really nice idea, because you just make more possibilities or the type of the gameplay of Poland. The only thing that I would say is that Poland never really wanted to become the Holy Emperor, so it's completely what if mission tree. But I don't care, I love it. If you become the Holy Roman Emperor, you can get some very good bonuses to Imperial authority gain as well as extra diplomatic skills of the ruler. Now, that was the branching part of the Polish mission tree. What about the main body? So it's mainly about addressing the aftermath of the Varna Crusade and other important stuff happening around Poland in this time period. So you can pursue friendship with Hungary and Bohemia, which will just improve relations, get bonuses to both of the countries, or you can go the rival way, which allows you to get restoration of castles by both Hungary and Poland. I think the old mission tree of Poland already has that, just over here you have more decisions on how you actually want to play against them. Then you also need to address obvious nobilities or Schlachta, how important they are in your country. Are you gonna go and accept their importance, or are you gonna fight them? So, if you go and cooperate with them, you need to do great concessions on maluses, but in exchange you're getting great bonuses and they're loyal, or you go and fight them, which is supposed to be hard from what I understand, but in exchange the importance won't be as big and you should get additional bonuses. I assume that's the event that you get when you actually oppose the magnates, and that's gathering capacity plus 100 and allow Eastern privileges to be revoked regardless of loyalty and influence. That's actually something interesting. In exchange you fight some noble rebels, but that's not much. That should hurt more. That really should hurt more. Historically, if you try to oppose the nobles, that wouldn't go so easy. You can unlock the new personality type, which wasn't used so far, Reformist, and that's for the mission Great Save. So this actually increases the reform progress modifier for your ruler. Taking care of the Polish Renaissance and dealing with the Piast of Mazovia and developing Krakow, so just very basic internal affairs mission tree. While on the conquest front is first of all going south towards the Ottomans through Wallachia, and I assume Moldavia, while also at the same time obviously taking care of the Prussian Confederation, so taking down Teutonic Order. And that's also cool that the Nazi that is being released on the current patch might be forming Royal Prussia, which is more historical what actually happened in this region. And that might be actually a cool roleplay to actually go and release yourself as Royal Prussia, because it seems that they have a small mission tree to break free from Poland. And finally, Poland and Commonwealth are getting access to a special unit, Winged Hussars at last. So, what the Winged Hussars are about? First of all, Poland and PLC have them available by unlocking obviously the Winged Hussars idea, which was CAV compatibility. It seems like it's nerfed to 30% instead of 33%, unless it's 30 for PLC and 30 for Poland. And you are getting +1 for streams of them for each 100 developments. So same as they finally ended up with the units for Sweden. At the same time, they are getting +1 CAV shock and 100% reinforcement costs, and can be further empowered by the choices in the mission tree. I mentioned that for the Scandinavia ideas, +1 shock or fire is really too strong. Right? They already have 30% CAV compatibility from the ideas, and we are pretty much giving them far more by just giving +1 shock. I would say 0.5, like really 0.5 or even less of the CAV shock. It's already gonna be broken bonus for this unit. I think 0.5 should be good, that should be very worth it, and at the same time it's not completely broken, like +1 CAV shock. And I'll also say, historically looking at the Winged Hussars units, they were extremely expensive to maintain. So maybe on top of reinforcement costs, we should think about increasing the maintenance costs to actually make them very OP, but only if you're actually going to convert your provinces to Polish to have the right culture, at the same time have the right economy to go and use them properly. And for the color of the Winged Hussars, I think, yes, we can have Cossacks being orange, Janissaries being red, just do pink. You know, pink should be fine, it actually matches the colors of PLC, should be fine. Alright, let's move to the Lithuanian mission tree, which looks, I think, a little bit smaller than the Polish, but it's still very interesting. Obviously because of its position, there's part of the mission tree of handling the Cossacks and actually calling their units to help you, then Crimean Steppes. And that seems really cool. How you handle the Crimean Steppes as Lithuania? Are you gonna go and use the landed Cossack slots for the CAV compatibility and Cossacks equilibrium? Are you gonna get the tribes estate for 30 years? Are you gonna just get a better trade center and mercantilism? There are some new events, new and more flavorful Lithuanian stuff, because we all know that Lithuania lacked flavor a lot, so of the missions, also just more additions to that. And there's a nice decision, because if you're playing Lithuania, there might be a chance that you don't want to form PLC, or you don't want to form it as quickly. So if you just wait with forming the PLC and be patient, you can get the Golden Age of Lithuania, which is power protection, permanent, all powers cost for 25 years, that's very strong, and reduce requirements to attain any hegemony. So for example, we can play with Lithuania, let's say till 1550, 1600, wait a little bit more, get the hegemony faster, I would say even 1550 if we play it correctly, and then from Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth to get the Winged Hussars. I think we had this idea in the mod, our multiplayer mod. When you form Austria-Hungary as Hungary, you're gonna form Hungary-Austria. So why don't we do the same with Poland and Lithuania? If you form PLC as Poland, it's gonna be Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. If you form PLC as Lithuania, you're gonna be Lithuanian-Polish Commonwealth. I think my Lithuanian brothers would be really happy about this kind of stuff. What about Commonwealth itself? So what's cool about Commonwealth for Poland is that you're gonna see all the Commonwealth missions at the start of the game. They're just gonna be all grey. So you'll be able to start planning how you want to build your nation to actually fulfill some of the mission requirements in the future. I think that's a cool idea, and could be that, for example, for Scandinavia itself, or maybe some more nations that have more obvious paths like Poland in the Commonwealth. Let's see some of the coolest missions. A Lifetime of War is going to have a completed mission Varna Aftermath, 100% army proficiency, 150k of army, 8 Winged Hussars, Cossacks loyalty, 5 pledges to Cossacks, 35% infantry compatibility, 25% discipline. This is extremely hard, this is extremely easy, this is extremely easy, this is extremely easy, this is extremely easy. These two are easy, just require more patience for you to actually go and gain these modifiers. It says that only one of the listed requirements it has to be completed. I'm not sure if I understand correctly, so you need one of those 4, I assume. I would say we need to balance a little bit more, because 100% less extremely hard, 150k of army is extremely easy to get. If you really want to make this mission hard to get and require a player to take time and build that strong nation, let's balance it. Because from what I see, the bonuses that you can get are quite nice. So you have a choice from 4 bonuses. You get the army professionalism, army drill modifier, regiment drill loss. And very nice, then you have elite Hussar Karali that is giving us fire damage received minus 20%, so only Hussars Regiments. That's OP, that's very OP, that's very OP. If you combine all of the bonuses that you can get for your cavalry as Poland, maybe minus 10% would be better, and more on the level of this bonus. Then we have military taxes plus 5% and own territory dice rolls plus 1. That is even more broken. So let's say you have 3 military tactics, it's more like a late game scenario, then you're gonna get 0.50 more military taxes than your opponent. So I would say it's very strong, it's not like super broken. If combination of own territory dice rolls plus 1, that's completely broken. I don't know. Like, if you want to know my opinion on that, I would not do both. I would just choose from one of these two, or really make it extremely hard to get all of these bonuses. Because otherwise it's like super strong. And finally, the last decision is CAF cost, CAF inferiority ratio, and cost exploit equilibrium. I mean, if you're going CAF build as Poland, you won't really need that unless you want to go wide setup and still have lots and only CAF if your army except the cannons, then this might be a good choice to actually not take any CAF ideas. Yes, the numbers are final, and that's one of the biggest things that I love about this Paradox team, because if they say something, they really listen to feedback from you guys, from the whole community, and then adjust the numbers to make them either useful or not overpowered. Just invest in Eastern Poland, so yeah, the old meme. I'm not sure how it means. I would need like a real explanation how to be in the mission tree. What of these few modifiers we really have to get? What is the choice? Because, for example, level 3 Senator is like extremely easy, the rest is a little bit harder to get. And then in exchange you're getting Industrious modifier for your ruler, as well as changing all of the wool provinces into cloth. Poland already has a lot of cloth provinces, and changing also the wool provinces, which is also I think plenty, is gonna make a one big stonks, especially if you're gonna be able to do that in the Age of Reformation, where Poland is having its age ability. So Pacta Conventa was part of the game already as events. Now it's gonna actually be a full Pacta Conventa experience from the history. So historically, Pacta Conventa is kind of agreement between each elected monarch and the nobility about the rules in work between them. So having that in EU4, in what they say, if you're actually gonna make the Szlachta less important, you're gonna get the better bonuses. I love that approach. Now we have a mission that is giving us extended Golden Era by 30 years. I assume the modifiers are gonna be hard to get, so that's actually a good idea to try something like that. External affairs of the Commonwealth are gonna be obviously about taking down Muscovy, taking down Constantinople, where you can get Phoenix, so Byzantium back, Latin Empire, or Constantinople for ourselves, and finally taking down Sweden itself, where you can also choose if you want to go friendly or if you want to be rivals with Sweden and go take them down. So again, we are getting a lot of choice over here. Once you become a hegemon, you can get one of these 3 bonuses. For economic hegemony, you can have 20% chance that when you are developing your province to gain additional points of development, and on top of that there's construction cost and development efficiency, 10% from what they said, so it's actually all total meta. I'm just thinking these modifiers are for 25 years, this modifier is permanent. I want to play to Poland, guys, right now. Then, the naval hegemony is 1 navy tradition per admiral or explorer, as well as global trade power, ships trade power, marines force limit. I would say this is far weaker than what we are getting here. And the last military hegemony is the Poland rise at the end of the game. So artillery levels available versus force +2, and governing capacity modifier +15%. That is also super strong, but remember, it's also not as easy to become the hegemon. So I wouldn't say it's really overpowered, because by the time you get to this bonus, you're already the strongest nation in game. Then we have new ideas. Let's go for the Lithuanian, Polish, Lithuanian Commonwealth first, okay? It's global manpower modifier 25%, Tolerance of heretics 3, governing capacity is 15%, max hostile attrition, discipline, death cost, goods progress modifier, all states loyalty, diplomatic annexation cost, CAF power, recruit the Winged Hussars, grammar and tech cost. These ideas are for sure better than vanilla Lithuanian ones, but they're not like really overpowered, and the biggest strength I would say is definitely recruiting the Winged Hussars and CAF compatibility. Let's take a look at the Polish Lithuanian Commonwealth ideas and compare them to the Polish ones that we have currently. Alright, so over here we're having Nobles Loyalty, number of accepted cultures, monthly reform progress modifier. This is really good, but I would not say that really matches Poland historically, because for a time they weren't so reformative. So the bonus is great, I love it, but I'm not so sure if I like this bonus too much Poland. Then we have Goods Price Modifier, Idea Cost, Drill Gain, Army Tradition, CAF Compatibility, Recruiting Hussars, Monarch Admin Power, Infantry Compatibility, and the Discipline. And if you ask me, if I had to choose between current vanilla Polish ideas and Polish Lithuanian Commonwealth ideas, I would still choose the Polish ones. Because Poland is having 10% morale, Poland is having 25% manpower modifier, and still are getting the Winged Hussars. But that's just my opinion. Some of these bonuses are equal, like Idea Calls or Reform Progress, but military-wise, Poland is still better. So you can, for example, form Polish Lithuanian Commonwealth and keep Polish ideas. Unless you don't have that choice, but I assume there should be a choice between these two. Okay, I think that's it for this dev diary, and that's gonna be the longest dev diary video that I've did so far, but it's all thanks to the big boss that did a lot of great content for us and a great summary of what's coming for Poland and Lithuania in this region. And to sum up, I love the changes. Of course, some numbers need some tweaks, but besides that, well done. I really love it, and I'm really looking forward to play Poland. Most probably Poland will be my first pick in the new patch. I was playing about like something different. So guys, thank you so much for watching today. Remember to leave a like on this video to let me know to make more dev diary videos in the future, and tell me in comments what is your favorite change that's coming for Poland in Lithuania. And of course, subscribe to the channel to get notified about the future content. Bye!